The modern internet is centered around being loud. Hooah! Being a creator. Hello. Publishing yourself to the broadest possible audience. Subscribe! It wasn't always the case that social media websites wanted to use social pressure to get you onto the platform and bring along your friends and followers to convert them into profitable users. And thankfully, despite what they want you to think, it still doesn't have to be that way. And we already have the tools that we need to make it not the case. Most social media wants you to grow by being louder and producing content that drives views and clicks and controversy and whatnot. All hail the blue checkmark. But fun fact about reality, it doesn't have to be that way. In fact, for a lot of people, they don't want it to be that way. They just lurk on social media websites. They don't want to post. They don't want to put themselves out there because maybe they're a little intimidated, or maybe they just don't feel like they have anything useful to say, or maybe it makes total sense that a human being wouldn't want to talk to the entirety of the world all the time. What happened to the introvert's internet? I've got good news for you. It's still there. They're a little bit harder to find, and especially now that there are massive corporations that try to own the entirety of the internet and convince you that the only way to use the internet is through their services. But I promise you, the weird internet is still there. Remember back in the day, or maybe you don't, there was a website called Geocities. Geocities was famous for having a lot of wacky websites being hosted on it. It was a free website host, and you could basically put whatever you wanted on the internet. And then it disappeared. It kind of got eclipsed by MySpace and Facebook and all that stuff. And everything got really sterile and samey, and they got rid of the whole notion of custom styles and custom layouts and whatnot, and now everything is just a news feed riddled with ads. But guess what? There's now Neocities. People got fed up, and they said, I want my wacky websites back. And so now, Neocities is a thing. I'm not sponsored, but I'm saying this is a thing that exists for you to make what you want out of it. It's closer to the Tumblr side of the internet than the Facebook side of the internet, but it's still not really a social network. They kind of build themselves as such, but it's really just a HTML hosting platform. And here's the thing, like, you can get really creative with this stuff with just the littlest bit of technical know-how. You don't need to be a web development wizard to be able to put up a website, even if you are doing it via HTML. I promise you that if you've ever used Microsoft Word, you can probably take an HTML template and fill it out with your own content. But Endeavorance, you ask? Fear in your eyes? I don't want to have to deal with HTML and hosting a website. Well, don't you worry. Remember blogs? Medium and Substack might have you thinking that every single thing has to be on their platform. Substack's a little bit better because it's a great way to directly support people whose content you like. But the notion that you have to have a centralized hosted blog on one of these services, no. So here, actually, WordPress is still a pretty popular thing, and it's not too bad. Having a WordPress site of your own is still a bit monolithic, and you're buying into their software ecosystem, but it's better than buying into having your personal website be a Facebook page. But much simpler than WordPress is a platform like Write.as, which is a very stripped down, very simple, and privacy-focused blogging platform where you just write stuff and post it. It's really, really simple to get going and have a beautiful blog of your own. And you can still have subscribers and comments and responses and all that good stuff. You can have the entirety of the discourse that you have on these social media platforms, but in blogs and personal sites, and writing your own stuff and posting it online elsewhere, outside of social media. If you're going to post this content anyway, social media just wants to profit off of the content that you are going to post. And yes, it could very well be the case that the easiest way for you to reach people is using social media. That's what I'm doing right now. Please note a key difference though. I have never used my current handle, Endeavorance, for any personal social media outside of this content creation. I have a completely separate identity online for personal stuff, and I don't use social media like this. I purposefully keep that divide where my personal stuff is more personal and my public content creation is leaning a little bit more into social media in order to help deliver my message to people who I think should be able to hear it. Something on the more extreme nerdy side, and definitely more into the weirder side of the internet, but an awesome side of the internet, I think, are Tilde Communities. Tilde Communities require a bit of technical know-how because they are a shared web server that everyone can remotely log into and use as a community. These communities can end up being really cool because you've got a few hundred people all sharing the same computer effectively. And they can mail each other stuff. They have internal chats that you can only access when you're logged into this remote server. It's basically a self-contained social network with the added bonus of having an entire computer at your disposal on the internet. And so you're able to have a user page hosted at this server. You can say, yeah, I'm a part of this website, and here's my user page on it. And then the community can come together and build cool stuff. They can build games that they can play with each other. They can build blogging software that they can use themselves. They can build any kind of stuff, and it's all built specifically for this one community. It's not made with the intention of growing and becoming this massive platform. It's just a community making a space for themselves and having a good time. That's that good shit. That is the good internet. Okay, Endeavorance, you ask with skepticism in your eyes. You've made your point, but what the hell are you doing? As I've said, I definitely want to acknowledge the fact that I am currently posting a lot on classic social media websites. YouTube, TikTok, Tumblr, Twitter, all that stuff. My tagline is that I want to rehumanize the internet, and I think the right way to go about that is to reach out into these platforms and pull people in and show them, hey, there's cool stuff you can be doing besides this. I'm also trying to find a modern middle ground between the extremes of having to be a deep culture internet nerd and be like me and want to build stuff on the internet all the time, and just casually browsing online. And I think that I'm doing a decent job of it. If you check out my Discord, for example, I'm doing a lot of the things that I was explaining that Tilde Communities do. I'm building a custom Discord bot that is completely from scratch, built specifically for my community, and can tether into anything else that we want to do online. We've got our Discord, we've also got a dedicated wiki, and there's also an upcoming website that all of it will integrate together. On the wiki that we also have a space dedicated for users to make their own space, to make their own miniature wiki for all of their stuff. It's kind of like the Neocities. It's kind of like having a user page on a Tilde site. I think that the internet is at its best when people can be creative and weird, and when people can just express themselves however they want to. And I want to encourage and enable that as best I can. And I want to encourage and enable that using tools that people are familiar with and increasingly are going to be depending on. I think we're moving away from these legacy social media sites, at least I hope we are, and I hate that they want to take you and all your content and use it for their profit model. You should be the one that controls the publishing and management of your content. The frustrating but also encouraging part is that you absolutely have a ton of tools at your disposal to make that happen. And they want to hide that from you, and they want to tell you that it's too complicated, it's too hard. You won't be able to do it, use our service. But I believe in you, I think you can do it, and I can't wait to see what you make. That's all for me today. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And you can always email me any questions, comments, or feedback at neverending@fea.st. That's Neverending Feast. Take care and be well.